Hello everyone, my name is HU01-LAVARIAS from HU01. So for today's video, we're going to have a book review! Yay! Our agenda includes discussing the plot of the book. There will be spoilers, so I'm warning ya. We will also identify this book's genre and I will share my views and recommendations about this book. Make sure to stay until the end of the video because I will also have a very emotional closing as I tell you how this subject, 21st century literature, and my advisor, Miss Camille, made an impact in my way of thinking. So without further ado, let's hop right into the video. So, now for the book that I chose to review. Drum roll please! We're going to review the book of David Levitan called Everyday! Yay! Everyday is under the genre of young romance and fantasy novel. Everyday is not a typical love story where a boy meets a girl and they fall in love. It's not like that because this story is so unique that the main character in this book is not a person. Well, it is a person, but it is a spirit. It is a soul that lives and wakes up in a body, a different body every day. Meaning, every day, different body, every day, different life. This spirit was named A, and this character is a gender-neutral character but considers himself as a guy. There was never a warning who will it be or where it will be. He just wakes up at a body at his same age. A will also have access at the memory of that person that he is in, but that person specifically can't access what A did to his body. So A has the responsibility to take care of that person's life as he is present in that body. A just goes with the flow for the rest of 16 years of his lifetime until he woke up at this boy named Justin. And Justin has a girlfriend named Rhiannon. So A met Rhiannon through Justin's body. At that day when A is at Justin's body, they went on a date. And on that date, Rhiannon shared personal experiences of her. He shared about problems about his dad and how it was so important to her. And they had a little happy moments and share with the fortune cookies and things like that. It was a very memorable day for Rhiannon. But for someone like A, it was very impossible to fall in love and move into different bodies at the same time. But how can you fall in love when you live at a different body every day? But after that day as Justin, the next following days, he woke up as a different person. He woke up as Amy, a girl. Then he woke up as a character called Nathan, wherein he broke his principles. He went into a party of Justin's friend and then he almost kissed Rhiannon that time, and he also became this character named Megan. After that day as Justin, the next following days, he was on different personalities such as Amy, Nathan, and Megan. On those days, he tried on meeting up with Rhiannon and he tried explaining his situation like he lives in a different body every time. But during those times, Rhiannon couldn't process that situation because it was so impossible and it is not realistic that a soul lives from a different body every day. A, present in Megan's body, he tried to convince Rhiannon that he was A and he wasn't Justin at that time when they went out on a date. He tried convincing Rhiannon by sharing the secrets Rhiannon told him. Those secrets includes the secrets of her personal life. The next day, A was on James' body and met up with Rhiannon at a diner. And then A explained to Rhiannon what the real situation is, and that Rhiannon was convinced, but she didn't took up that explanation so well. She needed time to take it all in and understand what she got herself into. The next following days includes more personalities such as being Vic, George, and Michael, A also woke up at Rhiannon's very own body, and he was trying to take very good care of Rhiannon's body. But on that day, as Rhiannon, he tried to neglect any appearance of Justin because he was just so annoyed at how Justin treated Rhiannon that time. Yet being at different bodies and being in love isn't a thing that A could possibly do normally. Being at different personalities and being in love, A was tempted to break his principles and did some damages on different person's life. While Rhiannon on the other side broke up with his boyfriend Justin and now his ex because Rhiannon realized that she already fell in love with A, which is a soul. One day, A woke up at Kelsey's body, and this Kelsey is a girl with suicidal thoughts, and A saw those signs of those suicidal thoughts on Kelsey's sketchbook, and then Rhiannon suggested that A might help on preventing Kelsey's on committing suicide by staying longer at Kelsey's body. So that idea of Kelsey committing suicide made A force himself to stay at that body until A got a way to prevent Kelsey to commit suicide and talk to his dad. And fortunately, that happened. At that point, Rhiannon and A realized that A can live in one body only, and that made them very happy. The next day, luckily, A woke up at the body of Alexander. Alexander is a guy from Rhiannon's class, and he is very an ideal man for Rhiannon, and everyone thinks that Rhiannon and Alexander are meant to be. But when Rhiannon and Alexander hung out for that day, they went home at Alexander's house. They arrived at Alexander's house, and Alexander's family was disappointed when Alexander brought home a girl because it was Alexander's birthday without A knowing, because he wasn't aware of it, because he was so happy hanging out with Rhiannon. The next day, A stayed longer at Alexander's body, and Alexander invited Rhiannon at his house to have a dinner. But at this time, A as Alexander admitted that he can't stay any longer at anyone's body because A said that he couldn't do that to anyone, because he said that he cannot take away someone else's life, and he believes that this life belongs to someone, and A chooses to follow his principles, follow what is right. It was a sad thing that throughout the story, they got attached to each other without really seeing the appearance of A. But at the end of the day, A as a soul chose to follow his own principles, and that proved that A is a very beautiful soul. In my own view, I am totally amazed in David Levitan for thinking about this concept. There are just some parts in the book that include social judgment. When A is in a fat boy's body like James, Rhiannon restricted herself to come with him because people might think it is something disgusting. The book conveys something very wrong about the people's mindset in terms of appearance and gender. But as a reader, I did enjoy the overall performance of the book in terms of writing, story concept, and the characters. I wanted to know more about A, wherein I wanted to know his past experiences before Rhiannon came into his life. I think it will give us a satisfaction when we knew who really A was before he was in love. I will give the book a 4/5. The part that I enjoyed the most is this quotation of A when he was in James' body, and I will read it to you guys. It's just, I know it sounds like an awful way to live, but I've seen so many things. It's so hard when you're in one body to get a sense of what life is really like. You're so grounded in who you are, but when who you are changes every day, you get to touch the universal more. Even the most mundane details. You see how cherries taste different to different people. Blue looks different. You see all the strange rituals boys have to show affection without admitting it. You learn that if a parent reads to you at the end of the day, it's a good sign that it's a good parent. Because you've seen so many other parents who don't make time. You learn how much a day is truly worth because they're all so different. If you ask most people what the difference was between Monday and Tuesday, they might tell you what they had for dinner each night. Not me. By seeing the world from so many angles, I get more of a sense its dimensionality. So it just shows that A sees in so much perspective that he appreciates those differences. And for the last part that everyone has been waiting for, 21st century literature connecting it to the story of Everyday by David Levitan. It gave us different perspectives on different things. It gave us a realization that situations doesn't have only one interpretation because we can see those things at different perspectives, at different angles. Those angles gives things different meanings. We shouldn't just conclude on one solution or on one meaning. This subject doesn't only serve as an academic subject but also serves as a life lesson in a way that applying these interpretations and applying those stories that we share on 21st century literature, we have experienced those stories, we have put ourselves in those shoes of those characters, and we have felt their experiences and made us realize their mistakes. Because literature is the representation of the past and it reveals our future. Miss Camille as a teacher does not only teach us academically, but she also teaches life lessons. Overall, 21st century literature isn't just a subject for academic purpose, but it is a subject for long-term lessons. And I will close this video by leaving a quote again by A, as he says, "I feel the universe is telling me something, and it doesn't even matter if it's true or not. What matters is that I feel it, and I believe it." Sometimes we just gotta live by but what the universe tells us, and maybe something will happen, or maybe we'll get somewhere. And that's about it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you got a lesson from this video. This is HU01-LAVARIAS from HU01, logging off.